Well, here's something delightful for you. The African Adventures of Sena and Katlego. This new kids' book series celebrates Africa as well as its various countries, landscapes, as well as traditions. It's fun and educational as it tells a story of Sena as well as his magical teddy bear, Katlego. The author, award-winning radio personality, Carol Ofori, joins us for this conversation. Carol, always a pleasure speaking to you. What is absolutely beautiful is how we are looking at telling African stories and being able to find these characters that many of us can identify and children can identify with as we navigate this path of literacy. Talk to us a little bit about the idea behind and the inspiration behind the book.
I think, well, good morning to you, Faith. Thank you so much for having me on the show. You know, for me, it's so important for the African children to know their continent and to celebrate their continent, and for them to want to travel it and know much about the landscapes, the food.
All right, Carol, it seems that we've lost a little bit of your signal. What we're going to do is, I think we're going to try get you back again. Carol, can you still hear us? Are you with us?
Yes, 100%. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Great stuff. Now, we finally got you back. You can continue.
Yes, I was saying it was so important for me to have, you know, African children know so much about the continent that as they're growing up, they're inquisitive, they want to travel the continent. So I try to find books that told those stories and represented the beautiful shades of brown we have on the continent, and I just couldn't find them. So I decided to write the books, and that was the real inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, writing a book is one thing, but it also looks at advancing children's identity and being able to tell the African story through the narrative of positivity. You know, sometimes I always feel like when it comes to whether it's the literature and even the way in which the continent is always being sort of pictured or perceived is always somehow negative. Yeah. And here we're giving these different adventures where kids can actually feel proud of being African.
100%. I mean, my main character, if you can see him here, his name is Sena, and he's a deep chocolate brown. Also quite telling was the fact that a lot of people, when they did see the book for the first time, would say to me, why is he so dark? Why is he so dark? And this resonates with me to say, clearly we're not seeing enough children in books of the skin tone. That's why people are feeling uncomfortable. So the skin tone was very important for me. It was very important for the character to have beautiful, hopeful eyes and represent the continent that we are. We're a hopeful, resilient continent, and we have so many stories and culture and food and landscapes and animals to share with the world and ourselves.
Yeah, you know, it says a lot. I mean, we've always been criticized as a country that a lot of us in South Africa, we hardly travel, right? And maybe this could be perhaps as a result of having become an isolated state before we became a democratic state through the apartheid regime. But as a result of that, not a lot of us are actually seeing and getting to explore avenues of the continent. Are you hoping to spark that kind of curiosity with having to, you know, have this book series where kids are not able to go, hold on a second, maybe it'll be interested to visit Chad, or maybe it'll be interesting to visit the Democratic Republic of Congo, whereas before, as an isolated state, one wonders how many aspirations we actually had in that regard.
Absolutely. That was entirely my intention. I mean, the story follows this little boy who has family all over the continent. He's got a little teddy bear called Katlego. Every time he misses his family in the continent, he rubs Katlego's nose and he teleports himself to visit his family across the continent and does exciting experiences and just immerses himself in those countries. So yes, we follow 6 countries. We go to Uganda, we go to Chad, we go to Eswatini, South Africa, Egypt, and Ghana. And all of these countries have so many different things. I mean, for example, I learned about the camel racing that happens in the Tibiti Mountains in Chad. I had no idea of this and how exciting and exhilarating that is. You know, also the culinary experience that Uganda has to offer, and so on. So it was definitely for our children to know these stories so that as they're growing up and making a bit of money, they can travel Africa.
But perhaps more than anything else as well, Carol, is about helping children understand that they are Africans, right, within the African continent, and that somebody who looks like them, you know, is their brother, whether or not you live in Chad or you live in the DRC, you live in Zimbabwe, or you live in Zambia. But ultimately, we have this wonderful thread that binds us all, and that is being African.
Absolutely. And for me, it's even bigger than that. I mean, the books, you can read them to children from day one they're born all the way to where kids can read the books for themselves. And it's also about parents also immersing themselves in being proudly African and loving the continent. The book at the back has got lovely fun facts about the continent. So it's a learning experience, not only for you as the parent, but the child as well. And, you know, I really did a lot of research and put a lot of time into making sure that this book is not only taking you on a beautiful African adventure, but when you walk away from it, you've learned so much and you feel so proud to be a part of this continent. Also, for the internationals who pick up the book, to see what we have to offer. We're not just flies and swollen bellies. We are more than that, you know. We have so much to offer, and we are the motherland for a reason.
Very quickly, before I let you go, when are we seeing these books as part of our schooling curriculum?
Oh my gosh, I would love to see that happening very soon. I mean, the books have just been on the shelves for the past 2 weeks. So for now, I'm trying to get as many people interested. And I know that my amazing publishers, Lingua Franca, which is run by a Black woman, are doing their best to make sure that these books can be part of our curriculum. But I also do understand that it's a lengthy process and a lot of, you know, checks and balances need to happen. But I'm definitely hopeful that they will be part of the curriculum. But for now, do pick them up in your local bookshops as well as online.
Carol, an absolute pleasure speaking to you. I love it, love it, love it. Always insightful when it comes to the way in which we can enhance literature, particularly amongst our children. Carol Ofori is the author of the children's book series, The African Adventures of Sena and Katlego.